All right, so pause the video and try some of these word problems on your own. So in the first one, it says the average amount of water used per person each day in the United States is 66 gallons. How much water does the average person use in 1 year? So 1 year is 365 days. Again, we know with multiplication and division, it's kind of tricky to see which one is which. So ask yourself, is something being repeated over and over again, which is going to be multiplication, or is something large being split up? So are we taking this 66 gallons and splitting it up amongst 365 days, or are we taking 66 gallons and repeating it for 365 days? Well, we're not going to split it up. We're saying 66 gallons every single day. And we're going to do that 365 times. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 66 and we're going to multiply that by 365 times. So 66 times 365 is going to give you 24,090 gallons of water. That's a lot of water. This one says a ballpark vendor sold 235 hot dogs and 136 hamburgers. How many more hot dogs does he sell than hamburgers? This key phrase here is used a lot to indicate subtraction, when you want to know how many more of something than you have than something else. So in this case, we want to know the difference between these two. So 235 minus 136. So we're going to do 235 minus 136, which is going to give you a difference of 99. I want you to pause the video one more time and try a couple more word problems and then hit play to check your answer. This one says Marsha's Bakery packages cupcakes 24 to a box. She recently received an order from a local university for 2,000 cupcakes. If she filled each box with 24 cupcakes except for the last one, how many full boxes of cupcakes are needed and how many cupcakes will be in the last box? So again, this is very similar to the bus problem a while ago. We're starting with something very large and we're splitting it up. So we're going to have 2,000 and we're going to divide that by 24 to a box. So 2,000 divided by 24 is going to give you some ugly little decimal. So it's going to be 83.3 repeating. Now the question should read how many boxes of cupcakes are needed, so please ignore that word. How many boxes of cupcakes are needed, and then how many cupcakes will be in the last box. So how many boxes does she need to purchase for her cupcake business in this case? So we got to still have a box for these little fraction of a cupcakes here. So instead of 83 boxes that she'll need 84 boxes in order to package all of her cupcakes. I hope that makes sense. These cupcakes right here, whatever fraction it is, I don't care about the decimal, they still need a box. And we're not going to cut the box into thirds in this case. So we're going to need 84 boxes. Now, how many cupcakes are going to be in the last box? We're going to take our whole number, which is 83. We're going to times that by 24 to figure out how many cupcakes do we have right now. So we have 1,992 cupcakes. Now, keep in mind we have 2,000 total. So if we do 2,000 minus 1,992, whoever gets that last box, sorry guys, you're only going to get 8 cupcakes because that's a difference of 8 there. Now, keep in mind, there's multiple ways to do these problems. So if you went about it a different way, that is wonderful. I always tell my students, I don't care how you get there. As long as you get the right answer, there's many ways to get there in math, as long as it's working for you. Now, this one says a truck travels 627 miles on Monday, 853 miles on Tuesday, and 485 miles on Wednesday. Estimate the total number of miles they have traveled over the 3 days by rounding each number to the nearest 10. Here's that example of Ed Ready combining concepts together. So first we need to round to the nearest 10. So we're going to round the 2. There's a 7 behind it, which is bigger than 5. So this is going to bump up to 630. This one's 853. There's the tens place. There's a 3 behind it, so this is going to stay 850. And then 485. There's a 5 behind that 8, so this is going to bump up to 490. So that word total, remember what that means? That's going to indicate that you're going to be adding those numbers together. So if we use our calculator and add all 3 numbers, we get 1,970 miles. The last concept that I want to talk about in this video is order of operations. This is going to be crucial to you, not just in Unit 1, but as you progress in Ed Ready, and even when you go on to your next math class, order of operations is vital. In math, order of operations is essentially the language that we speak. So what order do we do mathematics when we are given a problem? Most of you probably remember this famous mnemonic here, probably from way back when you first started learning math. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Is she not excused by now? We've been using her forever here in order to do math. P's, parentheses, but that doesn't just include parentheses. It could be brackets, it could be braces, it could be whatever you wanted it to be. Any grouping symbol belongs here. Exponents, so raising something to a power, or this can be square roots as well, which we'll see in a minute. Then multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. Now, I know you all seen on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, there's always these math problems, and then there's like 1,000 comments of people debating back and forth what the right answer is. As a math teacher, it pains me to read those. But anyways, 90% of the time, the reason why they're debating is because of this concept right here. Multiplication and division belong together as one operation. It's whichever one comes first in the problem. So most of the time, the reason why people are debating is because people were taught that you always multiply first and then you divide. That is not the case. So if I gave you something like 20 divided by 5 times 4, and you see this on Facebook, people are like, oh, you got to multiply first. You got to multiply first. No, you don't. If it's multiplication and division, you read it from left to right. So I would do 20 divided by 5 first, which is 4, and then 4 times 4, which is 16. Don't let those people mess with you. Multiplication and division, read them left to right, whichever one comes first. It's the same with addition and subtraction. When you see addition and subtraction in a word problem, you don't jump over here and add before you subtract. So let me change this problem around. Let's say it had been 20 minus 5 plus 4. Again, addition doesn't necessarily come before subtraction. These two are considered like one operation when it comes to the order of operation. You read it from left to right, and in this case, we would subtract first, and then we would add. So let's look at some examples. Go down your list when you're looking at a problem. Again, you're going to see me box these together so you know they go together. Do you have any parentheses? Yes, you do in this problem. So you always do what's inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to start by doing 7 minus 5, which is 2. And then times 5 plus 1. What you will always see me do is one step at a time. Once I do one step, I cross that step out. And then I bring everything down in my problem so I don't forget about it. Now, I don't have any more parentheses. I don't have any exponents. Do I have any multiplication or division? Yes, I do. I have multiplication here. So I'm going to do 2 times 5 next, which is going to be 10. 10 plus 10 is going to come next because I'm done with multiplication and division. Now I move on to addition and subtraction. I'm going to do it from left to right. So 10 plus 10 gives me 20. Last step is 20 plus 1, which gives me a final answer of 21. This problem down here doesn't have any parentheses, but it does have exponents, so that's going to be my first step. Now, what 3 to the second power means, it does not mean 3 times 2. It means 3 times 3. So, 3 to the second power meaning 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So, I'm going to rewrite my problem here. I don't have any more exponents, but I do have multiplication, so that's going to be my next step. That's going to give me 14. And then last but not least, I have 14 minus 9. So when I do 14 minus 9, I'm going to get my final answer, which is 5. Let's look at a bit of a longer example here. So I know this looks intimidating. Take it one step at a time. Do you have any parentheses? Well, you got a lot. You got parentheses here, and then you got brackets. Start with what's on the inside. So inside the brackets is a set of parentheses. So this is my starting point. I'm going to bring everything else down in this problem. 2 plus 4 gives me 6. divided by 2. Notice I did not drop those brackets. And the reason why I didn't drop those brackets is because I'm not done with them. Until I finish everything inside those brackets, they still exist. Now, I have to follow the order of operations inside these brackets. So I've got subtraction and then I've got multiplication. Well, multiplication always comes before subtraction. So I'm going to do 3 times 4, which is 12. I didn't drop those brackets though because I'm not done. Now, inside the brackets, all I have is subtraction. So I'm going to work that from left to right. 20 minus 12 is going to give me 8. I'm still not done though. Haven't finished. 8 minus 6 is going to give me 2. Now, the reason why I did not drop those brackets is because I did not want you to read this as 32, because that's not what that means. Anytime you have some number hanging outside of a bracket, or if you have some number that's hanging outside parentheses or braces, whatever the case may be, that number that's right outside those brackets or that braces, this means multiplication. This means 3 times 2. So, when I'm looking at my order of operations, though I can't do anything inside the brackets, I can do the multiplication that would come next. So 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. I'm not going to subtract next, I'm going to divide because that comes first. 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3, and 4 minus 3 is going to give me 1. All right, pause this video and I want you to try these 3 on your own, and when you're ready, hit play to check your answer. Now, I'm going to rewrite this at the top so we can reference it. I don't have any parentheses. I do have square roots. That's the same as doing an exponent in terms of the order. The square root of 9 means what number times itself gives me 9. Well, 3 times 3 gives me 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. Now I'm going to come over here and do the square root of 16. So what times itself gives me 16? That's going to be 4. I do have multiplication that would come next, so this would give me 15. Now I'm going to do my multiplication on the other side, so 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. And last but not least, I'm going to subtract, giving me a final answer of 3. Now this one's a little tricky. I'm going to do my parentheses first. I'm going to follow my order of operations in parentheses and start with my addition here. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to finish my parentheses. So 5 minus 2 gives me 3. Now look what's hanging outside these parentheses. This is an exponent. That means whatever I get as my answer inside those parentheses, I'm going to raise it to the second power. So 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. And then my final step is going to do 75 minus 9, which is going to give me 66. Now this one I had to move over here to this new slide to give me some space. So let me do PEMDAS. Parentheses, I do have a set of brackets, so I'm going to start with those parentheses that are inside those brackets. So 6 minus 1 is going to give me 5. Notice I brought everything else down. I'm next going to do my exponents inside my bracket. So 2 times 2 gives me 4. Next, I'm going to finish those brackets. I'm still working in there. 4 plus 10, because I'm going to do multiplication next. Now I'm going to add to finish out those brackets, so that's going to give me 4 plus 10 is 14. Now keep in mind what this means. This means 8 times 14. So 8 times 14 gives me 112. I'm going to do my multiplication next. 50 times 2 is going to give me 100. And then 112 minus 100 is going to leave me with 12 as my final answer. If you have any questions at all about Unit 1, you know you can always email me, or we can always set up a Collaborate session to talk about it.